Okay, this podcast covers the memoirs of Exhibit 1, which is public information, of the banking fraud that is documented and caught red-handed. Now, the bank lawyer scams fraudulent foreclosures went unbeknownst to me, and while I was in the process of donating land for 2 school sites, the bank president, the school board's president, informed me that the land I was donating was under foreclosure on the courthouse steps, unbeknownst to me, which caused me to hire lawyers, and they informed me the only way to stop the bank's fraudulent foreclosure was to file bankruptcy. Now, once you file bankruptcy, it'll haunt you the rest of your life. Nobody wants to do business with you, and I don't blame you. It slanders your name for the rest of your life. But it's the only way to salvage some of my excessive equity, which is documented as being, for every 19 cents borrowed, I had $1 worth of equity. Never been in default, never in arrears, always in good financial shape. Now, after I was scammed out of about $400,000 in lawyer fees and abandoned by my own lawyers, I knew my financial numbers and knew I was being financially scammed. I searched the county courthouse public records for clues of who, why, and how the bank lawyer scams money accounts were created and collected and are allowed. Exhibit 1 proves beyond a shadow of a doubt. Now, anyone can file and record fraudulent documentation with any county courthouse anyone so chooses. Now, in the bankruptcy procedures, I file these with the bankruptcy court, and by law, the bank trustee is to review all filings and report to the U.S. attorney or the U.S. trustee of anything suspicious, and of course, of anything that is downright fraud, so that the courts can prosecute and collect funding, fines, and retribution owed to the National Treasury and owed to the victims thereof. However, this didn't happen. All 3 branches of the government chose otherwise. Against my beef productions, interstate, international commerce, international exports, and U.S. designated funding thereof, as now new international case law and ethic changes that will inevitably collapse world economies, collapse trading, and inflict world economic treason for the lack of accountability thereof. Now, I've been enlightened and corrected for naively trusting my bank. Yes, there are legitimate banks, but this filed evidence proves beyond a shadow of a doubt a bank is above the law and is allowed to file fraudulent government documentation against anyone the bank so chooses. Now, this divides a nation, and it proves that banks can be untrustworthy and get away with it. Now, all signatures, dates, notary signatures, dates of their economic anarchy documents themselves are in question. In Exhibit 1, the first line, if the following refused documentation proves to be authentic. Now, documented fraud is documented fraud. There's just no question about it. This has been proven beyond a shadow of doubt. And to this day, the bank still refuses all banking documentation's expert forensic examination. Now, I've been enlightened and corrected, and not for naively trusting lawyers. Yes, I've dealt with a lot of good men and women lawyers through my life, and they're good people. Last 10 years, not so much. These are the lawyers I employed and funded to uphold the constitutional 14th Amendment rights of my equal protection of the law, to uphold the rule of law, and to uphold the attorney's constitutional oaths of profession, which proved beyond the worst return on investment known to mankind. I've been enlightened and corrected for naively trusting all 3 branches of the government. that we, the taxpaying commerce, fund. Now, these people are public servants. They're employed by us. They're not authoritarians. They're not dictators. They're not, as employees, they're not allowed to squander our funding. Yet again, this proves to be one of the worst return on investments known to mankind. Now, as U.S. citizens, and in order to form a more perfect union, and to honor those who fought, who served, fought, and or died defending the Constitution against these domestic enemies, world economic treason and economic anarchy that will inevitably collapse the world economies and tradings and the usual wars in humanity. That here we go again. Whenever these politicians make these negative cash flow choices, you're going to back your nation into trouble. You're going to be broke. You're going to have to start rattling sabers again. You're going to have to invade your neighbors to rape, murder, and plunder assets to temporarily prop up your collapsed economy. As my patriotic duty and due process of the law, I still seek justice under Champerty law and Quotan laws, judge jurisdictions for long overdue rulings as prosecution and collections owed to the U.S. government treasuries, the SEC, and the victims thereof, especially against those who committed the economic high treason and accepted the liabilities thereof. Now, our forefathers' constitutional poetic justice, the Constitution, we're all created equal. Now, when these economic traders go home, they're subject to the same as they created. However, the time frame from May 2012 to the day of said ruling and collections owed are still to get out of jail free cards for internationally published as so, as the unmolested and non-biased new international case law and ethic changes for international law libraries, archives, and online. For winning arbitrations, grand juries, no bills, appeals, pardons, and paroles, this will be published as international case law firms support cases to immediately exonerate all who are now unjustly accused, fined, and are in prison. Now, all three branches of the government, they really went out on a limb to do this for you. And it's a shame that you would stay in prison and squander the taxpaying and commerce funding when all three branches of the government violated the Constitution's 14th Amendment, violated the rule of law, and violated their constitutional oath of office and or profession to provide this opportunity for you. For they were known to give aid and comfort to the economic traders, for it is easier to persecute and prosecute and publish and punish victims than economic traders' landmark decisions of economic anarchy.